We're going to be speaking about the Talentverse, the product that we're building at the moment.
How do you find the right person, and how does the right person find you? So it's like, how can we build something we can give talent some agency and put talent first? How can we make every interaction 5 seconds, 10 seconds, right? Let's get you in front of a human as soon as possible.
That's another thing that's like on top of mind for people is ghosting. What do we do at Talentverse to help with the candidate experience?
And we sort of use some very strong nudges to encourage people not to do that. We then don't show you any matches either. All your matches disappear and you're sort of in the penalty box.
Your talent brand is really important. That gets out really fast if you're treating candidates in a bad way and providing a bad candidate experience.
It's starting to become the war of AI out there. It was bad enough with human-generated spam. And the problem with AI is it doesn't do a great job currently of matching things. And there's a lot of people worried about a lot of bias in AI matching.
Why now? There's tons of job boards out there. Obviously, LinkedIn is the main go-to for recruiters and, I guess, to some degree, software engineers. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hiring in All Cylinders. I'm Chris Abbass, and today I'm joined by Charles Henrich,
Correct.
CTPO at Talentverse. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, Chris?
Good. This is an unusual setting to be speaking.
Absolutely.
So, for the people who don't know you and your background, we're going to be speaking about the Talentverse, the product that we're building at the moment. But it might be good to start with your background and I guess your experience and why it led you to build the product.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a varied background. I started a long time ago doing basically SaaS software for universities, got fed up with it and went into visual effects for a decade. And after kind of, exercising my creative bent, came out and joined Yahoo as a technologist. And since then I've been technology ever since. Went from Yahoo to Shazam, to Google, to SurveyMonkey, and now Talentful.
Awesome. And we met at Shazam when you were growing the world's most loved app. Everyone still comes up to me talking about how much they love that app and how they still use it today. And I remember when I was working there, just the hype and it's the company that I've worked at the most where people recognize it and just have nothing but good things to say about the app.
Absolutely. I mean, Shazam is amazing. I think it set me on to really think about product first and great design and great products and things that people love. We worked together there, and I remember I used to travel frequently. I was the CTO at Shazam, and the only time I've ever gone through customs, and the customs agent's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a CTO at Shazam." Shazam? Oh, that's amazing. Check it out. Look at my latest line. You're like, okay, so if you build something people really love, that's awesome. It's not ending world hunger, but you're adding a little bit of joy to everyone's lives for hundreds of millions of people we had, and that was just awesome.
Yeah.
So I've been searching out things that can actually do that, where you can kind of make things better.
Awesome. And it is related how we do know each other and how we did work together, because I was helping you build your team at Shazam.
That's right.
And so maybe we can speak about Talentverse, what that is, and I guess your inspiration and why you feel that's an important kind of step change for the industry.
Yeah, so I've been hiring teams for 30 years at this point, and hiring's never been easy. It's never been straightforward. I think, Chris, you're the best recruiter partner I've ever had, and that's a rarity. I think it's always an uphill battle. It's trying to understand what people need, how to get there, communicate on the same plane, and there's just lots of steps and lots of problems, and it's really become exacerbated in the last few years. Since the pandemic and remote work, it used to be, hey, I'm in London, you're in London. We need to find people here who want to work here. And so there's a small number of companies relatively that you would source from, a small number of companies that people could work for, and you can kind of map out who's where and what your pool is. Mm-hmm. The second you say, I would like to work with anyone anywhere in North America, or frankly, anywhere in this time zone globally. Now instead of the pools being thousands of people, it's millions of people. And it's how do you find the right person, and how does the right person find you? And it's just been ever increasingly difficult.
Yeah. And so we're trying to solve that problem with the Talentverse. So I guess, can you maybe speak about how we're trying to solve that problem?
Talentful provides flexible recruiting solutions to the world's most ambitious companies. Are you thinking about ways to add flexibility to your talent function? With recent market volatility and hiring set to return to growth mode in the near future, there's never been a better time to choose the right partner to help you scale. Talentful's embedded sourcing, recruiting, coordination, and talent advisory services have been trusted by the world's leading brands. companies such as Atlassian, Microsoft, Expedia, Pinterest, Waymo, and more. Whether you're hiring across engineering, go-to-market, or G&A, Talentful has got you covered. To find out how Talentful can help you, visit talentful.com.
So I think one of the things, and this kind of came about from me looking for work as well as others, the way it works today mostly, and who knows by the time someone watches this, but as talent, you kind of sit back. If you believe in it, you put a little open to work banner up, but of course some people say don't do that, which is nonsense. And then you just wait. We have to find you, and when they find you, maybe it's a fit, maybe it's not, and they reach out to you, and maybe you're interested. A few years ago, you would be getting massive inbounds of things that totally didn't apply, but you had no agency to actually find something. If you went and applied to something, or even today, if you go to look at apply something, you can see on LinkedIn, it's like application 1 of 3,292, and there's no likely chance that people are going to get to you. So it's like, how can we build something we can give talent some agency and put talent first? A little bit of the Bumble dating analogies, like how do we get the person there first? And then the other problem when we look at recruiting or hiring for that matter is there's a real lack of data. It used to be, at least you got resumes, right? So people, here's the resume, here's pretty much detailed information. Now, at least in tech, largely it's fallen to LinkedIn profiles, which are often empty. It's like job, maybe a degree or not, and that's all you have. And so that's what people are looking for literally when they're reaching out to you. So we sort of said, how can we throw a little eHarmony in there, get a little more data, a little more richness, and decided to build a platform that allows talent to build highly detailed profiles, hiring managers and recruiters to build highly detailed profiles of what they're looking for, and then match them. So that when there is a match, it's not just someone throwing their hat in the ring for 1 of 3,000. It's like, no, I match, you match, we're good, let's talk. And it kind of filters out a lot of the manual work that goes on behind the scenes that I think most people don't realize is happening.
I guess the matching itself and how they match, is that specific to what you would look for as a hiring manager for software engineers? Is it the same criteria as salespeople or other folks?
That's sort of another thing when investigating this space is, it's a universal today. It's like put together your resume, hope people it's the right data, and hopefully the right evaluation. We found every discipline is different. What is important to a hiring manager in software engineering is different to a hiring manager in product management, different to a hiring manager in design. And so we quickly early on decided, we need to give high quality, high caliber results. We're going to do that by focusing on one discipline at a time that we can really understand. And so right now we're starting with software engineering. We'll grow to more as we get there. But it allows us to kind of be very specific to what do you actually care about is not only what does the hiring manager care about, but what does talent care about? When I'm looking for a job, what am I actually interested in? And we have a lot of nuance in the platform that surfaces itself very simplistically, but there's actually a lot of nuance in the matching that allows us to kind of find the fit for you.
And would that reflect, I guess, if you were interviewing someone yourself, the things you'd be looking for? Like, how do you make it relevant? Isn't every hiring manager different? Isn't every company different?
Absolutely. And so that's the profile step. So, I think we have something like 16 or 18 what we call preference indicators that we use that are very granular sliders on a huge range. You can say like, a little more of this, a little less of this, a little more of this, and you look at that kind of fingerprint that matches up very well of the kind of person you're looking for and the kind of person, the job the person is looking for. And we also do the standard basic skills analysis, like do you know this programming language, do you know that, the sort of checkboxy things, and we get those factored off. But our goal is really to say, let's take out of the process all the routine matching work. It's sort of just administrative work to say, let's get you in front of a human as soon as possible. Because ultimately humans need to understand, like, how is the culture fit? How does the person fit in the team? Does your manager fit with the way you want to work? How do we get you quickly talking to people that you're relevant? So our goal really is to say, like, hey, when you see a profile from someone, when our matching is really on point, you'll want to talk to everybody. Like, this person looks great. Let's talk to him. Then you got to talk, right? Then that's where humanity comes in. It's like, is this the person you actually want? Why? You can go into deep detail on your particular project, your particular team. And that allows us to kind of get the humans together faster. Our goal is you post a position or you post your profile looking for a job, you're talking to someone in a few days or hell, even the same day about what's available to you.
Yeah. It's been really interesting to see as we've been testing it, some companies put their job live, and within a matter of hours, they've got 25 matches and interested candidates ready to, want to speak to them. So I guess taking a step back, you come onto the platform as a candidate, you match against a position.
Yeah.
What's next? What happens then? And is it recruiters reaching out to you? Like, what happens?
Good point. I forgot to mention this. It's, it's talent first in the Talentverse. And so in our case, what happens is you log in as the talent, you create your profile, and you instantly see all the things you match for. Hiring managers and recruiters do not know you exist and can't see those matches at all. You get the opportunity to review each one, be like, nah, that's the one I'm really interested in. And then you express your interest, and you can reach out directly, send a quick message. We have a chat system like a WhatsApp or whatever, and say, hey, this looks really great, but what about this extra thing I don't really see in your profile? Mm-hmm. It also allows the hiring manager only at that point, to say, like, oh, here's someone interested in what you're doing. Here's the message they sent you. We give them your profile, which is a match against their profile, so they can see the deltas and be like, oh, this is great, but okay, I have a question about this one thing too. Allow them to do a quick back and forth of like, hey, you look like an amazing front-end developer, but we're really deep in GraphQL. Do you know this? How do you know this? I couldn't quite get it from your profile. You can have a quick exchange, and at that point you can be like, this is great, let's have a chat, right? And you can move on to a Zoom or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it really is talent moves first. You're hidden, so we don't worry about, hiring managers from your company finding you, or random spam that you don't want to get. No one can spam you. There's no like mass outreach of like, hey, I got this great job for you that I get all the time. I'm a software engineer, and some of my favorite ones are where I would get outreaches from architectural firms, like building architecture firms, like, hey, we got a great architecture position for you. It's like, sorry, buddy, it's the wrong kind of architecture, right? Yeah. And so none of that happens on our platform. Like, we match specifically what you want. You get to see what you want, and you get to choose who you talk to.
If I'm the client, speak to the candidate, take them to my system or spreadsheet somewhere, like, how is that managed? How is the kind of process managed from there?
So really the goal is to make this so painless and efficient for hiring managers and recruiters as well. So those matches show up into like an ATS, right? It's a mini ATS. Our applicant tracking system is what a small team would need for free. So like you have cards, you can track the inbound requests. We also allow you to add your own outbound reach into it and manage and track all that. We have some great reporting around that, so you can see how you're doing in your search and running your search. So it's really geared to be, how can we make every interaction 5 seconds, 10 seconds, right? If you're an overworked hiring manager, you don't have time. It's like, the people you are getting outreach from are people you want to talk to. That's the goal. So everyone, you're like, yeah, I want to talk to this person. There's no wasted time. When you're like, nope, this isn't a good fit, we show you the information in such a way that you can really quickly go, yes, this is correct and not correct, but it's data-driven. It's not like, I don't recognize that school, I don't care. And then let you quickly move candidates into like, let's interview, or I'm sorry, you're not disqualified, not a good fit for us.
And, people are talking about AI a lot in technology and recruiting. How do we use AI, and how does that impact the process?
It's really interesting. We had a decision early on we started before AI, but we had a decision early on of like, do we use AI as our matching engine? And the problem with AI is, as we all know, it hallucinates a lot. It doesn't do a great job currently of matching things. And there's a lot of people worried about a lot of bias in AI matching. So we don't do that. What we use AI for is actually understanding your resume, processing it, inferring data from it. We layer on top of that a bunch of questions that we ask you directly. And then from that, we present it back to you as a user saying, like, is this right? Did we get it right? Did the AI get it right? Right? So it's really great at allowing us to do things to say, you said you know React, but actually that means you also know JavaScript, which a lot of people won't actually make that association. So we can give a very rich profile. And then we take all of this detailed data and feed it into a more algorithmic matching algorithm. So there's no bias there, right? It's very clear. And you get to control your profile both on the hiring manager side and on the talent side of what is actually visible. So even if the LLM makes a mistake and that's not actually what I said, you can tweak it and change it. It's not this black box where you see some of these AI companies like, it's great, we're just going to suck in every resume in the world and you just tell us what you want and we'll find them for you. Well, it's not going to do a particularly good job today.
And as the kind of hiring manager, is it easy for me to understand? Is there a lot of information? Is it searchable? Like, what's the view that I get, I guess?
Yeah. So we've optimized the match view really carefully to be basically, here's what you see, here's a great summary overview of the person, and then you can also click a button and drill down into everything they've actually done. And there's toggles and switches to highlight certain things. You can say, oh, well, tell me what they did in JavaScript, and it kind of shows you just that stuff, or I want to see this. You can really quickly have an interactive view effectively of their project history. We lean heavily into projects and what you've done. I think a lot of people, if you look at actually what LinkedIn produces when you do a search, it's basically like your last 2 companies and where you went to school. And it's just inherently a biased thing, like, ooh, this person went to Google, they must be great. And, oh, wait, I recognize Stanford. If you don't have those cues, good luck, right? In our case, we kind of downplay that. We have it, but we really try and say, like, no, these are the things the person has actually done. And we surface in such a way that you can really quickly understand that. So we have a summary overview that gives you kind of a well-rounded picture of the person, but then you can also drill in on specific details to answer the question.
Excellent. And can you said there's like a lightweight ATS, can you move different steps in the process? Can you offer candidates and store that information for yourself? Like, how far does that go?
Yeah, it's pretty robust. I mean, it's, we have an opinionated view of the process, so, you can't, like, a full-on ATS where you can customize everything. It's like we have an opinionated view. These are the kind of normal stages that people go through, and here's the offer details. But we make it so that it's easy to use and trackable, and we give you great reporting on it. So, as you work with a candidate, you can move them along the process. We can tell you how long each step took. We can tell you time to hire, time to fill. We can tell you, like, how this position here is kind of red flag. It's been open for 2 months, why, and highlight that for you. So it's got all the basic functionality in a really efficient way to use it. And we're not competing with ATSs. We want to give you a package that you can work with, especially a small team, that solves your needs, but really is just low overhead, right? We don't want you to have to focus on, I need to hire someone to optimize this tool for me.
And if I'm a hiring manager, this is bringing in, I guess, candidates to my position and matching. What about if I want to put out a job advert, I want to bring in my own candidates to the platform?
So launching soon, we're going to have direct applications. So today, we have the Talentverse model, which underpins our philosophy and what we believe in. But we are going to launch direct applications soon, which will allow you to give you, as a hiring manager, recruiter, a very specific identifiable link that you can post in a job ad anywhere. It drives people into the system, lets them fill out the full profile for you, and then you see them immediately, and you can talk to them immediately, like any normal application process. But as we know, especially today, you'll get hundreds and hundreds to thousands of applications. The thing that we do that's awesome is we will then allow you to apply our normal match filtering against that list. So it may say, here's 150 people who applied. Here's the 3 that match according to our algorithm. So you can start with them, see how it looks. And then you can also, when you have time, go through all the other ones and be like, oh, this is one that actually I think is a great person we should talk to, and allows you to reach out to them as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's been a huge issue as the market's got a bit softer and more people are coming onto the job market. I'm hearing, applications for software engineers having thousands of applicants. Exactly. And it's becoming an issue managing that inbound application flow, giving candidates a really bad experience. Candidates put a lot of effort into the application and don't hear back for weeks and weeks, months, and maybe never. That's another thing that's like on top of mind for people is ghosting. That's been this keyword. What do we do at Talentverse to help with the candidate experience? Is there anything that we do to protect the candidate? Yeah,
so that was another one of the, a few of the pet peeves fueled the underpinnings of the project, and ghosting is one of my really big pet peeves of, like, just society behaving badly. And we sort of use some very strong nudges to encourage people not to do that. So in our system, the way it works is, you put your positions live, you get matches from people. These are people that effectively have been pre-screened and should be a good fit to your position. And if you review them, they reach out to you. If you choose not to reply, and all it takes is like, hey, I looked, it's not a great fit, or any kind of nice human interaction. If you don't reply to these people, after a few days, we send you a little warning saying, hey, Chris is waiting for a reply patiently. He wrote you this nice stuff. If you don't answer after a week, we basically automatically pause your position and hide it from the system. So you'll get no more applications and no one will see you, right? If you want to use the people who are highly talented talking to you, you have to do a little bit of work to tell them what's going on. Vice versa also, we've seen candidates just not reply to hiring managers. If you don't reply to the hiring manager, we then don't show you any matches either. All your matches disappear and you're sort of in the penalty box. All you got to do to get out of the penalty box is like, hey, Chris, sorry, I was away for a few days. Then I really talk to you and then you're back and good to go. But we do track that and kind of use a pretty strong nudge to get people to interact in a civil way.
And kind of playing devil's advocate here, like, why are we doing this? Like, what impact do we think this has generally on people's ability to hire or the process in general?
I think both cases, especially on the talent case, not only is it soul destroying, and you think, like, what am I doing wrong? I'm terrible. There's just a little bit of dignity that you need these folks to have, everyone to have, honestly. But it also means I don't know what's going on in the process, and I don't know where the problem is. And on the hiring manager side, it's the same thing. It's like, I got 3 great candidates. I'm talking to 2. This third one I'd really like to talk to. And they said they were interested. Where did they go? And so we really want to help people understand, like, no, this position's no longer available to you, or no, this candidate's no longer available to you. So it's just finalized. You're like, yep, okay, I'm moving on. It's good. Versus leaving it hanging for weeks and weeks and weeks. And you're like, is it me? Is it them? Is it gone? It just is more efficient from a process on both the searching and hiring side.
Yeah. I think what's been really interesting in working together is I think we both care about the hiring manager and the talent. Yeah. But you come at the problem a lot more from the talent side, and I come more from the company. And I think the ghosting for me, how I see that, is as an early stage company, or any company, but specifically early stage, your talent brand is really important. And that gets out really fast if you're treating candidates in a bad way and providing a bad candidate experience. Yeah. So we're actually protecting the business, right? We're saying, look, it's going to be really hard for you to screw up your talent brand, because we're just going to put you on ice until you learn how to build a great process and actually create a great candidate experience. We're not going to let you have hundreds of candidates waiting for your reply.
And if you talk to a lot of TA leaders and say, does your team ghost candidates? They're like, no, of course not. No, they don't. They absolutely reply to everyone. It says right here on page 6 that we reply to everyone. And this kind of encourages us to help the leaders also meet their goals.
Exactly. And that's a really good point. We talked a lot about talent. We talked a lot about hiring managers. What about if you're a small company, but you have a recruiter, or you have someone that isn't a hiring manager dealing with recruiting? Can they use this platform?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's great for them as well. So, if you're a company and you have the luxury of having a great recruiter, that's awesome. Now you don't have to go buy a bunch of tools, expensive tools, and they don't have to learn how to configure them all if it's one person or 2 people. We also, the profile that we create for a position, as a recruiter, when you come in, you add the hiring manager, here's the hiring manager, here's the data. It sends the hiring manager an intake survey that asks all the details, like, what are you looking for? Essentially what our profile is. But lets the hiring manager fill that out. And you can fill it out in partnership with them, the recruiter and hiring manager. But it gives you a centralized location of, like, what is this position again? What are they looking for? And you have it to hand. Click the button, there it is. And both people can see it. The other thing about a hiring manager and recruiter, when people are moving through the process, people moving through the process, they can see on their screens exactly where everything is together. So if they have a catch-up meeting, like, hey, where's this go at? We can just kind of review the board together. Is this one stuck? Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'll get my team to interview them or whatever. So you're working off the same sheet of paper, which is really great.
Yeah, I found it really useful, and our teams have found it really useful to have as like a framework and a process. When you start with a new hiring manager, you say, okay, we got our hiring sync in 2 days for this new role. I'm going to shoot you over this email, have a look at it, fill it in yourself before, or we'll go through it together. Yeah. And so you can turn up and have this really great structure that actually enables a lot of conversation around questions I don't think recruiters typically ask. It's, a lot of the time it's the standard questions of, like, why are you hiring for this role? What would a great candidate look like? What are the technical specifications? What's the nice to have? Good to have? What kind of companies are you looking for people from? But you don't really dig into the stuff that we're looking at, which is, do you like to release in tiny increments or big bangs? Do you like to,
like to write? Do you like to talk?
Yeah, exactly. These things that are really kind of detailed ways of working. So I think it's opened up some really interesting conversation between our people and the managers that we're working with. And ultimately that allows you to get better results, right?
Yeah, the interesting thing I've seen is also shadowing some of these folks as we've learned what's working, not working is, early on, we heard recruiters like, I already have all this information. I don't need them to fill it out. They don't want to do it. It takes too long. As a side note, we actually optimize the survey. It takes like 2-3 minutes or something. But what I've done is I've reviewed the surveys after we've had hiring managers fill them out, after we've launched some positions. And they're reviewing it like, hey, wait, you told me you wanted 8 years of experience, but it says here 5. And they're like, well, okay, yeah, 5 is good enough. Because when you put the form in front of them and like, no, you pick. Like right now, it's not 1 to 32. It's like, what do you want it to be? They make decisions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that may not be what they can kind of hand wave and sort of make it your problem, which adds some friction in the future. Yeah. So we find the alignment works pretty well there.
I guess the last thing is, what we're saying here is I could be a new company or a small company, hiring. I've not got a huge employer brand. We were kind of relying on, us posting our jobs or getting candidates from that matching, but people might not know who we are. We might not have a careers page, have much of a presence online. How am I going to get candidates? How are people going to know who we are and be attracted or even find out information about us?
Yeah, totally. So we want this to be a turnkey solution for a small team, plug and play. So not only do we give you kind of direct apply links, but we also give you a company page. So it's your own sort of landing page on the internet, which is not a huge thing. It's not too hard for a company to build. But when you're focused on building your product or doing your thing, it's a distraction. So we give you a great company page. You can sort of put your logo in there about the company, details about the company. We surface a bunch of information from the internet for you automatically. And then we show you all the positions you have with all the direct apply links for them. So if you're off doing a job posting, on Indeed yourself, you can say, apply here with our direct apply link and see more at this company page, and you're good to go. I should say also that we're also going to offer, placing some of those ads for you. So it's like not only do you not have to create those accounts, you just click the box and say, I want a 1 week ad of this position, and we'll show all that as well. So it's really all trying to be turnkey and efficient for you.
So
and all free.
Yeah. We forgot the
Didn't
best
end
bit.
that part. It's all free.
So I guess the question is, this sounds, like a great solution for both, but why now? There's tons of job boards out there. Obviously, LinkedIn is the main go-to for recruiters and, I guess, to some degree, software engineers. Whether people enjoy using it or not is really the predominant place. Why now? Why is this an important move now?
Yeah, so in addition to kind of the faults and optimization that we've talked about and kind of improving matching and getting the right information with data, it's starting to become the war of AI out there. It was bad enough with human-generated spam and drip campaigns going on. We're now starting to see that multiplied by factors of 10, where it's like just massive AI campaigns. They're personalized, sort of, being blasted out to candidates, but also now in reverse. So candidates are like, I can fight fire with fire. I got AI tools to generate custom resumes, and custom can spread out 10,000 resumes to companies hoping to get a job. The noise is becoming greater and greater and greater. Emails unreliable. We cut through that, right? By basically ensuring that on the talent side, you're in total control over. You see what you got. You interact. You don't interact. No one can reach you. On the hiring manager side, we filter. So we only show you the people that actually apply. So the volume is high signal, low noise, basically, since it's really great connections with not a lot of noise in the system.
How do I use this? If I'm a talent person or a recruiter or a hiring manager, or I'm an engineer looking for a job, how do I
just jump over to talentverse.com and sign up. It takes 30 seconds. We have a wait list currently for the hiring manager side. Talent side's wide open, and we review the wait list sort of every day. Kind
of a big question, but what is the end goal? What would you like a hiring manager to experience, or an engineer to experience coming in there?
You said I'm sort of on the talent side. I'm also on the hiring manager side. I've been one for 30 years. So my goal, I guess all of us have been on both sides of this fence, right? My goal is, I need a job. I post the position. I see 7 awesome opportunities. I know they're great, and I can talk to the ones I want, and I'm hired in 2 weeks. I'm quickly talking to a human like I'm talking to you now, and we can get down to brass tacks and not be talking about, do you know X, Y, or Z? On reverse, same thing. Wow, I need some great talent, and I need it now. I post my position, waited 24 hours, or hell, actually, we've seen it on our own positions in an hour, and people show up that you want to talk to, and you're like, this is awesome. You're just going right to the detail and moving through the system fast. We really want to bring people in and close your next great hire, your next great job in a few days to a week.
Awesome.
That's visionary. We're not quite there yet, but that's the goal.
Awesome. Well, and I was going to ask how much it costs, but as you said earlier, absolutely free. So if you're a startup, if you're a hiring manager looking to bring on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 engineers, then come along to the Talentverse. And if you're an engineer looking for a great job, also come along. Thanks very much, Charles. Great to speak to you.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening to Hiring No Cylinders podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe so you can catch future episodes. Thank you.